in place. Yes, okay. We're just gonna have to let. Yeah, I'm gonna. So they are charging me like an interest. Know what I mean? Yeah, they charge me the interest, that's interest. That is the charge interest. So I have to pay this whatever they. Scott, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Do you have it?
As long as it's in. That last.
How about you?
Okay, so we have to.
I couldn't find. I looked like. Took me a while in the, I found it. That's how I got. And if the phone number is near the.
But it also. It's only minutes. Okay, that's.
Oh, really?
Your cousin has your lease in months.
No, he didn't buy one there. He's got one in Ballinger.
What's the work?
He looked at a property out there. Hey, Jessica, I need to make a copy. I can make a copy of this quick. Okay, thanks.
Well, that's where I'm gonna be buried.
You told me that's your place out there.
Yeah, once I'm bronze.
And that's your garage.
It's not too mean anymore. You know anybody that speaks Turkish? No, we don't. Do you have a Turkish buyer? I have a buyer's agent who has a Turkish buyer. Like, I'm representing the seller and she has a buyer who wants to buy. I'm sorry, we were on the phone. Brad still has my phone.
That's all right. No problem.
Did you need me?
No, we're good.
Anyway, she has a buyer that wants to buy my listing and there's a language barrier.
We can look on, we ought to get Kelsey to pull up on the roster. We've been trying to keep track of every language spoken here to see if there's anybody.
Somebody said Nihan. Nihan. I don't know who that is. You're right.
I just. I can't stand it. I'm not. I've got it. You will.
I don't know.
I have no doubts at all.
Yeah, I know.
Just keep it going. This didn't show up on my link to calendar. It's gotta be something. We've had it on. Start in like 2 minutes. You'll join the back row.
That's right.
That back row always fills up.
I had a professor that would encourage people by saying, it's like A, row, B, C, D, F, are along the path. If you treat your grade, you run the best. We're gonna shoot it
It's serve if I have to leave.
out. Just being considerate.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't consider it. What do we do without you?
All right, guys.
No, we haven't started yet. You're good. Just letting everybody fill in.
The next class.
Okay, so I think.
What do you need?
That's why I said I think. We can just put it on the website. For Sunday jail.
Yeah.
40 minutes later.
And if I was here in that.
No, it is.
Yeah, that's good. I'll make sure I do that. Video, so he called me, he was like, Sabbath. And that I had
We'll see.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, we.
Added, it's great. Yeah.
Okay. All right, if y'all are ready, we will go ahead and get started. So we can value your time and get you out of here. And we said we would. All right, so we are going over our market overview for July for ChartMasters. And hold on. There you go. Yeah. All right, you've got Jessica and I teaching. I'll let Jessica tell you who she is. I'm Jessica. You all know I could have done that. This is Jill. Hi, Jill. Anyway, thank you for letting us do this. We've started doing it now every month. Hopefully it will start helping you in your listing presentations and working with buyers as well. So
Thank you both for doing it.
you're very well. Thank Jessica. She's the one who's been like a huge proponent of this. And anyway, love that you do this. So I just tag along. So anyway, thank you. Wanted to make sure that you all know we showed in the team meeting today how to get on the portal. We wanted to make sure that you knew how to find this on the portal. First step is key. So anyway, it's on the dashboard. And if you go to Market Center Forms and Documents, you take a picture. Okay, and then ChartMaster reports. And list them all out. Yes, Tommy. Is that on? I don't know. We still like Google just ChartMasters and like we. No, it's only on the portal. Okay, it's changed. I don't know if it is or not.
Well, I just want to make sure I'm not way out.
Oh, I think you're good. Oh.
Angie still sends it, but it is located on the portal. So Angie's emails are simply a reminder. If you want to go download any of the reports, they're in the portal. It is basically that way. I don't know what it's doing. I can't.
What? Oh. You might need to move, Tommy.
Well, there's space in that way.
Huh, maybe it's doing this. It's looking at the screen. I don't know. This shows though that the reports are broken up into two different categories. There's condo and townhome, and then there's also detached. So be sure when you're going all through those, if you're looking for a detached home, that you click on the detached report and not a condo or a townhome. It's gonna look very different.
Yes, in this class, we're just looking at the month reports. This is totally different than our last couple of classes where we're looking at the quarterly reports. So for the month reports, they're condo, townhouse, and detached. And then it gets broken out even further into when you click on condo or detached, then you have three different options. You can look at city view, county view, or ISD view. Okay. So we thought we got a lot of requests to do an actual case study, like if we were gonna go on a listing appointment ourselves, how would we use ChartMasters in a listing presentation? So that's what we're gonna do today. I just picked a random address. This house is already just recently sold. So this house is in Frisco with Denton ISD, but Frisco schools. It's kind of on the border between Frisco and Little Elm. It's in Denton County. What did I say, Denton ISD? I meant Denton County.
Yeah.
Cross that out. Yeah, cross that out.
It's okay. Today I had the wrong company name up for our sponsor.
Oh, that's good.
It's just like, I know.
Okay, so Frisco School, Denton County, and this is our address up here. You don't have to memorize any of this stuff. It's just give you an idea of type of listing you might be going on. And after doing our comps, we're thinking as a listing agent that the house might be worth around $425, okay, before we've seen it. So these next few slides are the type of charts that, before you go forward, the type of charts that we would probably pull to take on our listing presentation. So where you might want to start is with the county's report. So if you'll click on the next one. So you could take the all selected counties. This is, and it, at the top of this page, I think I cut it off, but it does say what counties are included in this. It's like literally Kaufman, Tarrant, Dallas, yeah, all of them. That might be a little overwhelming for most sellers. You probably want to just start with the county that they're in. which is one of the next couple of slides. One more. So before we go to that, if you did decide to take the all selected counties report, this might be a good chart to show your seller because it has the trend line. So all selected counties, this is the only one that shows the trend line is all selected counties. You're looking at July, August, September, all the way through July of this year. And you're looking at everything that's on the normal charts, new listings, active, pending, ratio, et cetera, all the way down to canceled and expired. And then you can kind of see a little graph here of how it has been performing over the last year.
So you would explain it to them if they're looking for somebody here looking, if it was a new listing, you're gonna show them on the trend report that we went kind of back up and then it's starting to, the number is going back down a little bit.
Absolutely. So the number of new listings coming on our entire, not our entire MLS, but all counties that we're reporting on. We were seeing quite a few in July of last year and then it dipped down. I guess we could count July, August, September, October, November, December. We had like nothing come on the market. That's our lowest, 4,540. And then ever since then, it's kind of been low and then picked back up and down. And then we're coming back down,
Back down in July.
8,926 now. So if some seller has in their minds that there's just so much inventory or so many options or something, this would be good to show them over the last year, how it's compared to a month they have in their head.
Any questions on that chart? Any questions how to use that chart?
This is probably too much information to give a seller, but I wanted you to see. Yes, Tommy.
No, I was gonna say that, I think they'll overwhelm it with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where I would start is with the county itself. I don't like to start broad on my listing presentations, start with the county, then the city, then what's happening in the neighborhood. So since our subject property is in Denton County, but with Frisco schools, I would probably start in the Denton County and we know we're between 400 and 450. So we're in this price bracket and I would walk a seller through like, this is what's happening in Denton County. And since we already have in mind a price bracket, I literally like hold my piece of paper up here. You know, obviously this is a huge screen, but I hold my piece of paper up here and just go walk them all the way across what they're looking at each column. So, and I go quickly through the top. This is the number of new listings on the market for the month of July. How many new listings came on in this price bracket? How many were active? So if they didn't sell the previous month, they're still active this month. That's why there's more actives than new. How many went under contract this month? That creates a pending ratio between active to pending. How many closed in the month? What the median sales price was in the category, price per square foot, months of supply of inventory. I normally pause on months of supply of inventory and explain what months of supply is. Go ahead, Jill.
Oh, no, I was just, as you're going, I'm just looking at the not price reduced days on market and price reduced days on market. So I'm ahead of you.
Right here, right?
Yeah, you are.
Okay, and then I explained what months of supply of inventory means. The way I describe that is if nothing else came on the market starting today, it would only take 2.1 months to sell everything in Denton County in this price range. So it's a very fast moving seller's market. Green is a seller's market, yellow is balanced, red is a buyer's market. Okay, and then absorption rate is how fast things are selling through. It's the same calculation, just inverse. So it's how quickly homes are selling in that price bracket. How many sold above the list price? How many did a price reduction? How many of the ones that did not do a price reduction, how much they sold of their original list price when they did do a price reduction, how much they sold of their original list price when they didn't do a price reduction, how many days they spent on the market versus when they did a price reduction, how many days they spent on the market, and then how many expired or canceled. Like I literally go through it that fast. And I don't even really give them time to stop and ask me questions because I don't really care as much about this as I do the actual city that they live in.
So just give them that broad overview. Yeah.
Start with a broad brushstroke. Okay, and then the next page is the same information, but the entire county not broken out into price ranges. And so you're looking at all this, all the columns across the top is the same thing over here. You're looking at last month compared to this month, last year compared to this year.
What is small?
Month over month,
Oh,
and then year over year.
Yep.
Yep. So if you have, like I think about my personality profile of the person I'm sitting across, if you have a high D, you would not even go through any of this. mean, you're lucky to get 10 minutes with them, right? So you're lucky if they show up to the appointment. So I would probably skip through all of this and go straight to the city, hit the highlights of the city. Yeah, but if you have a S or a C or somebody that's really into the details, they're gonna wanna spend some time on that slide.
See, I would be one of those people that was like, let's get to the meat. I don't care about all of the dressing. I just want to get to like all this stuff on it. I just want to get to the meat. Yeah.
Okay, so then we're into the cities report. So I also print out the cities report for the listing presentations. Of course, we're in Frisco. I'm just showing here on this slide, all the cities. By the way, for the month of July, Jeremy, the owner of ChartMasters, added so many different areas. If you have not looked at this for July, please spend some time doing that. Bluffview is new, East Dallas is new. We redid downtown Dallas into these zip codes. Crescent Hollow is new. Highland and University Park is new. We listened to your feedback and added a bunch of those areas.
Yay. Jessica. Yeah, those are great
Yeah,
areas.
really great, yeah. So we're slowly adding some things. So it's exciting. Okay, so this is where you might spend a little bit of extra time. Oh, this is all selected areas.
All selected, yeah.
Yeah, so then we get to the city of Frisco.
There we go.
Yeah, and then this is where I would do my little, okay, 4 to 425 or 4 to 450. I'm in the price range. And I would go across and spend a little bit more time and start asking them if they have any questions for me about those.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Of course, so active listings are the ones that came over, so there's 16 new listings. But there's only 9 active listings, are the new listings and the active listings not a sum of each other? Do you see what I'm?
Yeah, that one's interesting, isn't it? So new listings in the month and then total active, so they must have.
Maybe 14 of them went in.
To me, it was, I look at it as what was already active. Is that not how it's, like, we had 16 come on, but we had 8 already still active, like from that price.
It's like active on the market.
It should
Yeah.
be
Like
what
some
that.
of those have gone under contract.
Yeah, so there's
Yeah.
14 under contract, so that maybe that's what happened.
Yeah, because look at the absorption rate here, it's really high. So that means it's selling through really fast, really high. That's
Yeah.
the highest absorption rate of any other category.
Could the 16 be for the month and 9 being, what's at the end of the month?
Correct. So the 16 came on the market, 14 of them went under contract and only 9
are still active.
are still,
Active
yes,
at the end of the month.
I think so. That's a good question though. Because in the next category down, there's 19 new, 10 went under contract and 20 total. So that's 39.
So the 350, the two right next to each other, the 350 to 400, there's the only ones that have the inverse relationship.
Right, and the absorption
Yeah.
rate is so high.
Yeah.
What you're not saying is how many.
Numerator, 14 is the numerator, so that's why it's 60% the ratio. So I see it, it's under contract, what you said, and then new listings is 16. So it's like 16 to 14. Right?
Just Tommy.
14.
Yes, Tommy,
All those stats are calculated at the end of the month.
yes. Yeah, that's correct. So, because we don't have any of August data right now, obviously.
So on July 31st, that's where it stood.
Yep.
Got it.
Okay. But hopefully your seller doesn't ask you that question.
Let's ask Jeremy for next time, because to make sure.
Yes, we can do that. Okay, so I'm here, I'm at 4 to 450. And I would say, okay, the pending ratio is 60%, and the columns I drill down on are median price in the category, months of supply, and then I really paid attention to this side of the page more. So 54% in the category sold above our list price, and almost 31% did a price reduction. So that's over 80% of the market, 84% of the market almost, in those two categories alone. So it's imperative that we price it right the first time, because we want to be in this 54% that sold at or above their list price, not the 31% that had to do a price reduction and chasing the ball down the hill. Right? So of the ones that did not do a price reduction, they spent 12 days on the market and got at least 100% of their list price. of the 31% that did a price reduction, they spent 62 days on the market and got almost 9% less.
That's the conversation I wanna have.
Yeah.
You know, it's talking about the price right there, and I mean, look at that difference. It's such a huge difference in days on market.
Yeah, and Tommy, yes, we were talking about this at the beginning. You actually highlight those numbers, right, in your presentation?
Yeah, but, question,
Yes.
67, list sales price, I can't see all at once, but 96% of list sales price have been reduced the price of the home. Is that 96% of the reduced price or 96% of the original?
Original list price.
Okay,
So Jill, to your point, the days on, it depends on who you're talking to, because if you're talking to a seller that has 3 little kids and 3 dogs, days on market's gonna be more important to them because of having to keep the house ready for showings.
Well, yeah, or even if it's somebody without kids, just talking about the carrying cost of keeping that house on the market for 62 days opposed to 12 and what that looks like. So, yeah, but specifically kids, those of us who've done that.
Because to me, the number, like with Tommy's question, to me, the percentages get a little confusing as to what it is from, but the days on market are like real. You can't
Yeah.
really question that.
Yeah. Any other questions on that?
Okay, and then I like looking at this slide with my sellers too, because it compares last month compared to this month. So you can, this is not a trend because this is only month over month. That's 1 month difference, not 3 or more. But then you can also compare this July compared to last July. So the numbers I like to pull out are median sales price. So we're pretty flat month over month. And then year over year, we're pretty flat. And then months of supply, we've gone up 20% in choices. So the way I say that is you are a buyer in this market, you have 20% more options this month compared to last month. And then you have actually down almost 22% in supply compared to last year, which is interesting in Frisco. I think that's kind of the anomaly. If you went and looked at other cities, it might not be that way year over year.
And then expired, yeah, oh,
Yeah.
it expired and
It's interesting
canceled
how high the month over month, the expires and cancels went up
Yes, but down 18% on
for the year, yeah.
Do you think sometimes too, there people start thinking, okay, school's about to start, I didn't get sold, so I'm gonna go ahead and take it off because and I'll wait a while because I've got to get back into the school
Oh, potentially.
season, yeah.
We can look at days on market here too. 13 last month compared to 17, 14 compared to 17, and give them the percentages. That makes a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
So those are a couple that I like to pull out on that slide.
that's for the rubber meets the road that's on that slide right there.
So yeah, if nothing else was brought.
Yeah.
That one. Do you have which one? Yeah.
Yes, city month over month.
Selected cities with the month report detached.
Okay, what I wanted to point out too is our subject property is in Frisco with Frisco schools. However, it's really close to Little Elm ISD. It could be right on the border. I know I didn't show you a map, but it is really close to Little Elm ISD. So this is where you could, if your seller maybe identifies with Little Elm schools more than Frisco schools, I can't imagine they would. But if they did, then you could pull the Little Elm ISD chart and compare those apples to apples. I would probably pull both if you had a pre-qualifying question with your seller, pre-qualifying conversation. So we've pulled in Frisco schools charts. You could kind of go through the numbers again. And then we also pulled Little Elm. Yep. So we have both. You could pull both on your listing presentation. I've done that many times. And sometimes it's the inverse. Somebody, your subject property might be in Little Elm and people have Frisco prices in their mind. Like, well,
And
wait a
Little Elm and
second,
Frisco pricing is not the same.
not the same. So you might want to give them a little bit of a reality check by putting these two charts like literally side by side and saying, let's look at the numbers, because the numbers are not going to lie to us. I wouldn't say that, but you know what I mean? Let's look at the numbers side by side.
Any questions on that?
Can you go back?
Absolutely, sorry. To where?
No, that Little Elm one. Sure. Okay, the median sales price is not for that category, so it says 800 to 900,000, I'm just looking at the red one. And it goes 8, 12, 4, 25%, that says median sale price was 550,
Yeah, that looks like a typo to me.
okay.
I can ask him about that one.
Yeah, because it's.
And I Yeah, and I live in Little Elm ISD, but we live in the Tribute. And in that market, from that 800 to even 1.7 right now, they're not on the market for a week. You cannot, they're gone.
And when
Even showing.
What's it showing?
when you see, it's showing, five,
That's in the Tribute.
12 months of supply.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
see things like this that are like, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
You can send me an email or
Okay.
Angie an email
Okay.
and we can get the information to Jeremy and ask him to check it out.
Somebody, what's it showing days on market on those? You said they're not even lasting a week.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, and then when there's a lot of blanks right here, it's kind of hard to get accurate data.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Just during your listing presentations, do you ChartMasters first and find a picture and then you get to
Yes.
CMA?
last.
Okay, so how do you determine price range that they're willing to follow non-blind?
Because I know roughly the range.
Okay.
And so I just pick one. I'm trying to get them to think that way before we get there.
It's kind of in the middle between two, or roughly, choose a larger one or just.
And
And
this
you're not choosing the price, is that what you're asking? You're not choosing the price.
Just has a price in mind, so when she's walking right through this, when you through a road. Right?
Yeah, so if we're between, for instance, 550 and 565. Right?
Right.
And so you're trying to decide between showing them this row and this row.
So you're thinking 565, which is lesser than.
I would go, in this market, I'd go lower. And then you can always leave your ChartMasters out and then we can go back to it. I have something else to show you at the end of this presentation that can help you with determining price, what might be too high or too low.
And also kind of asking them questions, what are they trying to accomplish? You know, are they trying, is it days on market and they need to get it done quick? You know, kind of what's their hot button there to have that conversation to know?
It's just 1 month reflection, right? It's
Uh-huh.
just 1 month. It's not
It's
a-
July. All right, so we went through that.
Okay, so last month, whenever we met, I was trying to get the quarterly report where we
Yeah.
get this interactive chart pulled up. And I was having
There's
to
about cost of keeping it on the market as opposed to their price versus what we're suggesting and to show what it looks like, yeah.
Yes, so I've included some screenshots for you on how to find this interactive chart so you can go play with it. It's very, very cool. This is what I'm talking about, to your point of like, if the seller has a price in mind that's too high and you are suggesting maybe a lower range, this is the tool you're gonna wanna use. And
This is so
you can
good.
bring your computer with you on the listing presentation, open this chart and plug in all the data right there in front of them and get them to show, you'll show it to them, so.
Yeah, take a picture so you'll know where to find this.
So this is again in the portal, you're gonna click on, instead of the July numbers, you're gonna click on Q2. Okay, then you're gonna click on detached selected counties quarterly report PowerPoint. Have to click on PowerPoint, you can't click on the PDF version and expect it to work. Has to be the PowerPoint. Picture. Detached selected counties quarterly report PowerPoint.
Have it? Did you get a test? Okay. This is my favorite thing on here. I love this.
So when the PowerPoint opens, you're gonna scroll down until you find this slide. And it's called the case for getting it right the first time. And when you find this slide, you're gonna double click anywhere on this page, doesn't matter where, just double click it.
What is it?
What number? It's page 30. And when you double click it, it's gonna open up Excel. So you must have PowerPoint on your computer and you must have Excel. And when it opens up Excel, you're gonna see a bunch of yellow boxes. And all of the yellow boxes, it's gonna ask you to fill out the information. So on the left side, as an example, is your seller's desired price. So if your seller has a price in mind, too high in your opinion, you would plug that in on the left side. And on the right side is your suggested list price. The next yellow box is utilities, then insurance, taxes and maintenance, their mortgage, other housekeeping, yard, pool, etc. And then it calculates your total monthly carrying costs. The other important thing is up here on the county selection, you must click that drop down and pick the county that the property's in. So in this case, our subject property is in Denton County. So on the next page, I filled this out for us. So I put Denton County in the drop down, or maybe our seller wants $450 instead of our suggested price of $425. So I put $425 here, $450 there, and I just added up some numbers. When you're sitting across from the seller, you can ask them, what is your property taxes, your utilities, et cetera. You can fill all that in with them. I put $450 in for utilities, $1,200 for insurance, taxes, maintenance, $1,900 for mortgage. Depends on, of course, when they bought it. Other housekeeping is $300, and that totals $3,850. So if you, and then whenever you've got this filled out, you can click out of this, like out of this page anywhere. You can close Excel, click out of it.
I mean, look really quick before we go on. For 25,000 more, look at the days on market, 171 for their price at 450 versus 10 for 425. That's a huge, just, I mean, that right there would be like, okay, drop it 25 for me. That's a lot.
So it takes your numbers and puts it back in the presentation for you, and you can walk them through this. So Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if we list at 450, and if that price is too high, which we in this case think it could be, then you're likely to get 91.7% of your list price based on the fact that it's in Denton County and the statistics that we have from the last quarter. So that would equal a sales price of $412,650, and you'd likely spend 171 days on the market. Crazy. If you decided to list at 425 instead, you're likely to get a list price or sales price of 100% of your original list price and spend 10 days on the market. So even though your sales price is $25,000 lower, your net sales price is actually $12,350 higher with 161 fewer days on the market, which after all of your carrying costs is a total savings of $33,012. So which would you rather do?
That to me, how professional do you look to bringing this in and sitting them down and walking through? Because sometimes it's so hard for them to grasp that and to see it the way we see it. And so to be able to do it so black and white like that, I think is crucial.
Question?
Yes.
So ChartMasters, when you start doing all this, like on the left-hand side, this is 91.7%. It's going back into its own data and auto-filling the 91%.
Yes, and it's based on the county. So the county selection is going to change that.
And you'd only pull this tool out if you're arguing over price. And
This
if-
is last resort. You still can't get them to see your side of it.
Yeah.
They're still too high. Pull this out.
That to me stops the argument right there.
Yeah. Wow, I like that. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Michael, what would Jessica do?
Okay.
Okay,
You've played all this out and they still say, I want to list it at 450. What would Jessica?
walk.
My fingers in the air. Depends, I guess it depends on the seller's motivation, like what it driving back to their motivation. Why are they selling? Try to drive back to that. And if I still can't get them to see it, then I would have to make a judgment call on if it was worth it to take the listing or not.
Or would you get an option like I can do it for 450 days, you don't get any viewings or any offers?
But then we're going back into that, I mean, it's sort of defeating the purpose because then we're saying, okay, if you do it at 450, I mean, look at what. it
Yeah,
shows.
I think there's a lot of factors for me personally that would maybe change my decision making on that. Is the house going to be one that I can host a lot of open houses and pick up other leads? Is it one that has good signage traffic for me to have, is it in my farm area? I mean, there's a lot of other factors that, you know, even though I know that it's not gonna potentially sell at that number.
Reducing it.
Right, and I still have a responsibility to do everything in my power to get my seller the property sold and do that. So also we've written into the special provisions of the listing agreement that we agree that it would be reduced after a certain amount of time, so. Yes, Bob.
So using this tool, because when they look at come up with a sales price, they're thinking that's money in their pocket, and this shows them that it's not.
This
This
is,
shows them that at the higher price, they actually end up netting less than at the lower price.
yes,
And so when they look at that, either they trust your numbers or they don't. If they don't trust your numbers, they say, no, 450 is going to give me more money. She's playing games here. But if they trust, if you establish a rapport and relationship, what they're really doing here is saying, oh, no, yeah, I'd really like to make less money. So be longer on the market. Because this is kind of a hobby. I mean, when you look at those numbers, the reality is most sellers do look at the list price, and that's how much they're going to get. When you say, well, that's not what you're going to get, here's what you're actually going to get. Isn't that going to come down to them trusting this process and these numbers?
right, and if they have, I mean, yes, if they have different numbers that they wanna see in here,
Yeah,
I can change this for them. If
sure.
this wasn't accurate, let's change it. What else did you
Now,
have?
how can you see those numbers, taxes, insurance, do they really have those numbers generally? So they can provide them, or are you using general numbers that you have?
No, I think you're asking them.
I'm asking them at the appointment.
So you think they've got their numbers for utilities and insurance and taxes?
Well, I think it's pretty easy these days with the technology we have to be able to pull that up pretty quick. I mean, you can pull up your bank account on your phone and be able to see your monthly costs there. So yeah, I say so.
You find they have that pretty easily?
Yep, and if
Bob knows about technology.
Bob's pulling it up right now on his phone to show us what he spent the month.
So if that surprises me a little bit that they have those numbers. Are they pulling the taxes from what?
well, most of them have an escrow account. And so it's already built in to their, so like, if, for instance, this,
So we're talking about someone with financing.
Yeah.
If it's a free and clear house, they
if
wouldn't.
it's a free and clear house, I have their taxes that I had on their net sheet.
Taxes up in 2 seconds too.
And I've already done a net sheet. By the time I get there, I know what their taxes are.
Okay.
And I think the knowledge is probably personality based as well. Cs are gonna know those numbers to the penny off the top of their head. And then other quadrants aren't.
Right. Yeah.
Or they may have a range. They may be, it's probably about
That's-
600,
that's
yeah.
it. And once you get down to ballpark, the ballpark is gonna be good enough to get the point across.
Yeah. Well, because even if they were off, I mean, they'd have to be off a lot right here, the $33,000 difference here. Yeah, you'd have to be way, way off on your bills. Yeah.
Mike?
You might have a few minutes later, and cover this. How do you set this up as far as disclosure? This is backward looking 3 months, or how do you? How do you?
How do you
There's no
compare it
guarantee
to?
just any of these numbers are right, but this really is an objective, almost scientific approach to pricing, and do you have language around that?
Whenever I get through the ChartMasters information, and I get to the CMA of what I've done to for the adjustments on their exact home, I always preface that with, these properties I've pulled over the last 90 days. And I really want to emphasize the actives, the under contracts, and the pendings. Those are our most accurate because they're the most recent data. The solds sometimes are already 3 months old, which means that they contracted 4 months ago in some cases. So those are the ones we need to put the least amount of weight into. So whenever we're looking at even ChartMasters data, that's July numbers, as an example, that's even 60 days old in some cases. So I think it's more of like a broad picture, a big picture, I should say, of we're starting broad with the county and then the city and then what's happening in the neighborhood. So I don't know about you, but I guess I would say that when it comes to this particular chart, I don't tell them that this is based on the quarter two.
So what I think I'm hearing you say is, you just explain the methodology,
Yes,
that kind of talks about being objective.
yeah. I've never had anybody come back and say, well, was this last month's data? Nobody's ever asked me that.
You wait.
I just keep going. Yeah.
You're calling a river for a listing appointment, just to ask it. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions on that? Did that help? Because I know last time, for those of you that were here, we were trying to show it and we were getting a little stuck on that one.
Is that on every quarter?
Every quarter. Yes.
You find that one in the Q2, right?
Q2.
That was
Or
Q2.
Q1.
You can also present this like at a higher level, just so we all know whether it's finance or, around Plano, it's probably gonna be finance free. I mean, it's gonna be you know, they won't have any financing, so they have for 10 or 15 years. And so that won't be an question, but they're still gonna have like ongoing taxes, ongoing,
You still have all your carrying costs of
yeah,
jail.
but everybody has carrying costs.
Absolutely.
Maybe not financing. Like financing, so they have. So
Well, I think
they'll
I'll-
still have in a nutshell, carrying, everybody's gonna have carrying costs, so you can just
Everybody's.
say that word and they'll go, yeah, dang, I know what carrying cost is. I want it to sell quickly.
I think a lot of people refinanced in the last 3 years to do a bunch of home improvements on their property. So I don't know you might know what the statistics are and how many people have debt on their house, but
You know, a lot of people pay cash too, though. For refinance, they do.
I don't know, put you on the spot, but I would say it's over 50%.
But I mean, we're not even drilling, I mean, we're looking at carrying costs, I mean, which is, I mean, all of that, you've got your utilities, even if they pay cash, they're still gonna have insurance. They're still gonna have taxes every month. They're still really the only thing you're taking out of there is your mortgage. Other than that, they're all your housekeeping, all of that. So it's still gonna be, a high number, yeah.
We can bond some things, usually get all this on a rotary phone.
Every bit of, yes.
Look at it through a porthole.
That was very quick.
Okay, and then
Buyers.
yeah, some ways that we're using this with buyers too is when we're on appointments with them. Of course, we're looking at inventory levels, just educating them on what's happening in the market. I always point out percent of original list price received, days on market, same thing, but in reverse. A lot of buyers right now are asking about how much can I go under the list price? What kind of deal can I get right now? We'll talk about the percent of original list price received. How many houses are doing price reductions? And I have a lot of my buyers set up on searches just of homes that have been on the market at least 30 days or longer. You know, people that are looking for good deals.
What we've seen lately too, like on last month we show exactly when they start doing that first price reduction. So that could be a time if they're trying to find a deal and this is a house you're interested in, maybe we wait until that day 10 or it was day 13, I think it was, right around there, and let's watch it and see if anything happens there, and maybe then you come in and make an offer.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
Sometimes we have buyers relocating from other cities or other parts of the country and they don't know what city they want to be in. So this would be a great way to provide Richardson versus North Dallas versus Plano and give them some statistics. So it doesn't help with the culture of the city or anything like that, but it helps them understand the prices in different areas and how fast things are.
Which cities are moving quicker, yeah.
So how have you guys been using ChartMasters in your business? Any other ideas you want to share with buyers or sellers? Yes, Tommy.
I do mine backwards of what you do. ChartMasters comes in last
Okay,
after we establish the pricing on it. And if they just, the one you doing the pricing, the head's doing this, I can't wait to get to the ChartMasters because that brings it back to ground.
Well, I can see why you might do, because it might make it a little quicker first and foremost, you know, if you don't have to go through all of that before. If they're like, no, I totally agree, 425 is a perfect price, then yeah.
Game over.
Yeah.
Sign here.
Sign here.
Mhm, yeah, yeah, that's great.
This is great. I really thank you all for finding this thing.
I just saw it and I was like, we need this. Yeah, this is great.
Anybody using this in social media or anything like that? Are you using that? And if so, how?
I've been recording videos. I mean, you can go back and watch some of my stuff, but I've been just talking about the market, what's going on. Your stats are always great. I think about what you say for a little while and I'm like, okay, wait, what is ChartMasters saying about like my micro market and how can I incorporate those two and then use some statistics? Because I think a lot of times the general public stats go way over their head. And they're like, how does that apply to me? So how can you take this and make it realistic, actually hit home with somebody? That's how I'm using it.
We used a couple of the charts and just to our database, just internally, let them know, took what Jeremy says, and then kind of condensed it down into something short, sweet. So sphere touch.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good one. Anything else? All right. That's it today.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
No, that was just kind of that.
I always would show actives. This is one. Yes, when you go on.
Exactly.
Yeah. As far as coming up with price, so you're trying to- but I really like to say, like, here's your. Where do you know, I want you to see this. If we need to go through.
Yeah, download them and then leave all of them.
But as far as. Endings.
County is included, but I don't know about specifically the scale portion.
Right in that room, it's across the street.